It takes more than a great print-on-demand idea to be an Etsy success. This video has a few key tips to rack up those Etsy sales and a few things to avoid for maximum success.
But first, I'm Jess at InsightsByJess. I dig deep into what makes Etsy stores successful and where they can improve so that you get the full 411 on what's really selling and why. Let's jump in. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. Today's video is a unique print-on-demand store because we often see tote bags included in POD stores, but this store's focus is primarily tote bags. One of the reasons we don't really see a lot of tote bag stores is because there's not a huge profit margin on these, especially if you're doing them as a print on demand and you're not printing them yourself. But if you hit upon a few great designs that are popular or trendy, you can really streamline them and have a smaller profit margin because your sales are higher and you don't really require any work once you get the listing set up and run for that first time. This store, however, is largely focused on personalized designs, which I found super interesting, and they have grown rapidly over the last year or so, which makes sense because it is a pretty new store. They don't even have 2 years, not quite 2 years yet, of sales. So I really wanted to dig into their store and get an idea of how it evolved without really giving you all of the gory, time-consuming details. Let me just give you a quick little summary recap. So this store has 118 pages of feedback. They have been selling since 2021. Taking a peek at their very oldest feedback, you can see that they primarily focused on pillows originally, and their first feedback comes in April 20th of 2021. Now, their pillows were not super popular, so only 33 pages of these 118 are from the year of 2021. 2022 feedback starts on page 84, and all of the first 84 pages of feedback cover the past year of sales, so 2022. So essentially 71% of this store's sales are from 2022. They really didn't start gaining a massive amount of popularity until they started doing these unique tote bags, and primarily custom tote bags. So keeping that in mind, let's look at their actual store stats here. I've already said that their first feedback was in April 20th of 2021, so I kind of buried the lead on that one there. This store has 4,475 sales, so 4,475. Not a whole lot of sales. Their average price point is actually about $20, which I know if you're looking at this, you're seeing $4 and $6. That is not actually accurate, which you will see when we look at their individual listings. Their average price is actually about $20. So keeping that in mind, if we split their sales equally between the 2 years that they have been open, that puts their average approximate annual sales at just over $50,000 a year. If you look at their store evolution and you factor in the fact that 71% of their total sales came from this last year, that would put last year's income for them, last year's sales for them at $63,000, about $63,500 for the last year. Now that we have that out of the way, and we know that this is a relatively new store that is getting pretty close to a six-figure seller standpoint, let's take a look at their storefront and you can kind of see what is going on and some really key things that are holding this store back a little bit from getting faster, bigger, more frequent sales. So you can see that this is a pretty popular store. This is sorted by relevance. I'm going to sort it by most recent, and you can see a lot of these messages here of being in a lot of people's carts. So
a good handful of their listings, over half of the listings here on the top of their page. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of their 10, 11, 12. 12 of the listings right here on their first page, sorry for that rapid scroll there, are really selling quite well. They're really quite popular listings. So that means that they've got some good products here. They are in demand, and they really do have some great potential. And if you look at what the listings are that are selling, some of these biggest sellers here, you can see that it is the personalized or custom products that are selling. So this seller isn't using any sorts of sales prices here. So I definitely want to point that out. That is something to keep in mind. But they are using a different strategy that I do really love. If you notice that they have a few different images here that are custom tote bags, and they are all very similar styles of tote bags, but all of the main images are different. So you can see a wide variety of different tote bags, and they do say custom tote bag, custom canvas tote bag, custom cotton tote bag, custom canvas tote bag, custom tote bag. So what they are essentially doing is creating multiple listings of the same product using different main images, and there's a very important reason that they do that. There's actually multiple benefits to doing this type of strategy. First of all, your items are going to show up more often in search results. Instead of having one listing that pops up in a search for a custom tote bag, they're going to have multiple different listings pop up for that same search. But benefit number 2, which is way more important, or equally as important at least, is that you're going to attract a wider variety of buyers because different people like different styles of images. So one customer may really like this image and that may catch their attention. A different customer may really like this image and it may catch a different customer's attention. If you keep scrolling down here, maybe this image might catch a different buyer's attention, or this one, so on and so forth. So different buyers resonate with different designs, and by doing this strategy of multiplying your listings and having different main images for the same product, you're going to attract those different types of buyers. Now, you can only do this particular strategy if you are selling items that can be sold repeatedly. If you're selling one-of-a-kind items or something with a limited quantity, like unique bracelets or custom-made jewelry or something along those lines, you're not going to be able to do this. Let's take a peek at a bestseller listing here. So this is one of their bestsellers, and it is a custom canvas tote bag. You can see their title is pretty well done. They have a lot of good variety in their title here. Let's see how long this is. It looks like they have utilized most of the characters. 139 characters, so almost every single character has been filled up in here. They've done a great job of adding variety in here so they can have logo, photo, text, business, event, shopping bag, regardless of what type of tote bag you are looking for. They have tried to add a word into their title to catch your attention and say, hey, this is that kind of tote bag. So I love that. Let's look at their images. I like their main image because it not only showcases that you can put your logo or text, but they also have 2 examples right here in that same image, which is smart. And then they have another image, another example, lots of great examples showing how this is done. And here we see the same image, if we jump back to their main page, as this listing here. So you can see that they are using the same images. It is, in fact, the same product. Then they have their design colors and their text options showing different fonts that you can choose from. Now, as a printed item, sidetracking from their SEO really quickly here, something to keep in mind is that This is a printed item, and so there's definitely a lot more options here for print colors. This is not a vinyl applique. They are not limited to these 12 colors. Keeping the colors limited can definitely make things easier in terms of design time and reducing the possibility for customers to expect a different shade or a slightly different color. You often see those messages that say, notice the colors on the monitor may be slightly different due to differences in screen resolution, etc., etc. You're eliminating that possibility more by only allowing a certain number of colors. However, that is something that could be holding them back from getting more sales. If you were looking for a more complex design than this, for example, you may gravitate towards another seller that offers a larger variety of text color options. So that's interesting, especially because this says full color printing, then to click through here and only see 12 colors, that might turn some buyers off. Another really interesting thing that I noticed about this particular seller is their pricing strategy. And I've already said that they're not putting their items on sale, which is okay, but not everybody likes sales. But that wasn't what caught my attention. If you've seen some of my other print-on-demand videos, you probably know that there's some tricky stuff going on with pricing, especially in the t-shirts niche, where the list price that you see on the search page is way lower than the actual cart price of an item. And this is doing a very similar concept here, but with a little element of surprise. So we can see here that it says $3.90 plus. When we go here, we can see that that $3.90 is for a not printed plain blank tote bag. And that if you wanted one printed tote bag, it says they're actually sold out. And that might just be because they weren't paying attention to the quantity on their listing, but it's more likely that this was intentional because they don't want to just sell one tote bag. Because when you go to 2 bags, you can see that it's actually $19 for 2 tote bags. And before I forget, I do have a freebie of over 75 print-on-demand manufacturers for people looking for vendors, and a newer freebie for matching fonts for people making designs. So if you have not gotten those yet, please check them out. They are free and they are at my resources link in the video description below. So the reason I bring that up is because when we go to sell this, we are going to see that getting a single tote bag can be more expensive than actually getting 2 tote bags. If we go here, we can see a similar concept here. So this has the same pricing, and they don't even offer the option of getting 1 tote bag. They do give you options for 1 side of printing or 2 sides of printing. And this one is actually $14 for 2 tote bags, and it costs $8 to ship this. Whereas this one is $19 for 2 tote bags, and it still costs $8 to ship. Which makes 0 sense because these are essentially supposed to be the same product. So that makes no sense at all. Why they would be selling the same product with such a wide variety of pricing, which is crazy. I did not even notice that when I was doing the outline. However, let's go to this one. This one is a similar listing, same concept. As you can see, it's the same product, different main image. And here you can get 1 non-printed bag for $6 or 1 bag for $13. So now we have 3 different pricings for 3 different, still $8 to ship, 3 different listings, same product, different pricing strategies on all of these listings. So that can be really confusing, and if you were shopping around, that could confuse your customers, people looking for 1 tote bag who maybe landed on this listing or on this listing might just click out. They're going to abandon cart and they're going to go look at a different place where they can get one single tote bag. And then people that land on this listing can actually get one printed tote bag for $13 plus $8 to ship. So we're still looking at about $21 for one tote bag, which is drastically different than that initial $6 price we saw on the search page. So that is something that I did want to point out that can make a big difference. And it is interesting that they do make it cheaper. If I open this up here, they do make it cheaper per bag to add on more. So the more bags you buy, the cheaper it gets. So if you spend over $35 and add to your cart, it does discount the shipping. The shipping would be free. And as you can see, this is a pretty popular item. But you have to keep into consideration that this seller is only selling these bags for $37 for 4 of them, or $12, $13 plus shipping, so $21 for one single bag. So as a buyer, you are going to end up just buying more tote bags so that you can get that free shipping. It's going to be cheaper for you as a buyer to spend 35 tote bags or $36 on 4 tote bags than $21 on one tote bag. So that could be something else that is causing buyers to hesitate in actually making their purchase. And even though we see a lot of these in 18 people's carts, in 20 people's carts messages, they may be doing exactly what I just did and putting the item in their cart, but they might not be getting a lot of sales conversions if people aren't sure that that's the best price or that's the best product that they can get. They may be adding it into their cart and then hesitating over the final price of things when they see that it's not $13, it's actually $21. For example, if I remove this, I'm going to see, oh, it's actually almost $21 instead of $13. And it initially said $6 when I clicked on it from the search page. So that can get really, really dicey for certain people. Now, if you were doing this as a print-on-demand item, you can offer a pretty wide spectrum of print colors. Remember, I said before they're only offering 12 colors, and you can make about a 25% profit margin, roughly, depending on how you structure your prices. So if you used Printify, for example, the cost to ship one single tote bag printed and shipped, final price would be about $12. So if you were charging $16 to $18, for example, you would make a 25% profit margin on just one single bag. If you're selling multiple bags, of course, your profit margin goes up because the shipping is cheaper for those second and third and fourth items. So you do actually keep more of the money when you're selling multiples. And of course, if you are using Printify and you start getting a stable amount of sales, you can sign up for the Printify Premium account, which makes these even cheaper, and your profit would be even higher. If you do like to do things more hands-on, you could also invest in a garment printer and print these yourself and get like 50 to 60% of the profits, or even more depending on the cost of your supplies for your particular printer ink and where you're getting tote bags and all of that good stuff. But not everything has to be print on demand if you do enjoy making things. There is a lot more money involved, but print on demand is, of course, a lot more streamlined and a lot more passive income. So I do like to try and give people ideas of how both of those kinds of manufacturing methods do work. So I did want to point that out about this particular seller because they are using multiples as a big driver of sales. And even though one single tote bag is $20, which is the average cart price I gave you with their sales, they're likely selling more than that. They're likely selling some of these higher amounts of tote bags, and that could be driving their sales comfortably into the 6-figure mark, or maybe slightly below, slightly above, somewhere around there. For example, this customer here got tote bags as party favors for her daughter's 10th birthday, so she likely ordered a good handful of those. So it really just depends, and that's something you can also factor into your pricing strategy as well. Now that I have gone on and on about their pricing strategy, let's look at their actual SEO. We've already talked about the title. Let's take a peek at their keywords. So we see here that they have custom tote bag, customized tote bag, shopping bag, personalized tote bags. They're using their store name as well. Going down to the bottom, we see a lot more variety than what they're showing up at the top there. We see shopping cotton bag, printing on tote bag, personalized organic tote bags, child's tote bag, lots of good long tail keywords here. So their tags are actually pretty good. Looking at their description, it says, express your style with a one-of-a-kind personalized tote bag that's as unique as you are. That's pretty great. I love that. It doesn't say custom, but it does say personalized, and it does get you a little excited, like, oh, this is going to be personalized. This is going to be one of a kind. So that's pretty good. Nice, short appeal statement that does grab your attention. The rest of their description is pretty well done. It gives you all of the important information here. It tells you how their printers work and how their designing works, and gives you the actual technical specs. And then it does tell you they have a premium tote bag as well. So that's their entire description. Very short, sweet, and to the point. And in general, this store's SEO is actually quite well done. If we look at their other listings, we can see very similar quality of, same description, same types of variety in their tags and keywords. So from an SEO standpoint, this store is doing really, really well, and they are picking up a steady amount of sales. So this store is off to a pretty good start, and even though they have that tricky price point in there, and that could be turning some buyers off, we can see some good growth potential here in this store and how they are starting to sell more steadily and starting to grow. But there is actually a print-on-demand niche with even better profit margins that is all the rage right now. You should check out this 2-year-old store making $150K a year with sales spreading like wildfire. You can check that out here.